I think RCB are a terrible team for about three different reasons. One, I think that they really did believe in starting slow and anchoring and all that sort of stuff, even when they had AB de Villiers and Chris Gale and all these sorts of things. So they had star-studded batting. I'm not sure they ever maximum. Some of those teams, Mega, they could have just scored 40 runs more than any other team in any games that they wanted, but they never played that way. If you go back and have a look,
Yeah.
the other big issue I think they have is they had a good batting wicket where everyone could make runs, but they weren't so set up, and partly, as he's saying, with the middle order and everything else, they weren't quite set up to score 20% more runs than every other team in the way that, say, the Sunrisers are now, right? And we've seen other teams be able to do that. You know, Brisbane Heat used to do that at their ground. And the reason this matters is we completely underplay home field advantage in T20 cricket. The best thing you can be in T20 cricket is be very, very good at home, which means you get in the playoffs all the time. And if you get in the playoffs all the time, one year you're going to win by accident, right? Playoffs are so random. One year you're just going to win by accident. You know, one player's going to catch fire, the opposition team's going to have an injury, whatever it happens, you know, Dew comes in a crucial game. And then the third thing is that through two different ownership groups, they have been run really poorly.
Yeah.
Right? With a couple of years ago, they had Jason Behrendorff, a really good left arm bowler, and they sold him for peanuts to Mumbai. So Mumbai could have a backup left arm bowler if Trent Bolt wasn't around. No. Take a good player from Mumbai. Take a young player from Mumbai, from the best scouting system in the IPL, and take a run on that. Don't just give the player away. Look at their list and go, you want this player? Great.
Yeah.
What do you want him for? Right? And you look at it, and look, obviously I have a unique experience because I was involved with RCB. It was a shit show. They had no idea what they were doing. There was like 7 different people who had 7 different agendas at all time. Vijay Mallya was an absolute nutcase when he was in control and didn't understand T20 cricket at all. The current, is it DiMaggio? He was very involved, sadly.
But how involved was... Okay.
Vijay was really, really involved. I remember when he was still running...
When we say... Yeah. Sorry.
Well, his involvement was picking players that he thought he wanted to hang out with more than perhaps players that would win titles, would be a big part. No, he was involved when he was overseas. You've got the current management, which is kind of, I would say, rudderless. And from my experience, they kind of want to do the right thing, but they can't. They've never had grown-up conversations with Virat Kohli, right? Okay. Never had grown-up conversations with Virat Kohli. And my memory of being a writer around that franchise and then briefly working for them was pretty much the same, which is, well, we can't do that. Virat might not like it. And I was always saying the same thing, Megha. Have you asked him? Have you had a conversation with him? Have you sat down? And so often it would be, oh, you know, Virat likes his players, we'll bring him in. It's like, it's not, no, that's not how this works. Is Virat out there scouting the best players? Is he watching the SMAT? Right? Like, Virat works about 29 hours a day. How is he out there watching the SMAT or the Tamil Nadu League or what's the other one? The one in Bengaluru as well.
Karnataka.
Karnataka, that's what I was looking for. Do you know what I mean? He's not doing that. So if you're picking players based on what he thinks is good, it's basically going to be players he's played international cricket up against or IPL players, right? And then you're also hoping that those players played well in the games against him, so he rates them highly, or they bowl well against him, right? It's a nonsense system to have. So there weren't enough adults in the room making key decisions. They were trying to move towards professionalism, and I don't think they really knew what they were doing. And they haven't got home advantage, I think, is a massive, massive part of it going ahead. And I think that when I was at St. Lucia, we had a wicket where you could score about 200 pretty much every game. When it was a fresh wicket, you would score 200. And we had Raheem Cornwall, Warner, Pollard, Darren Sammy. Unfortunately, Darren Sammy was a little bit gone. But the next year, I was just going to load up on guys who could just whack it, right? So that we had 8 guys who could whack it, and we would have won all of our games at home, because even if the other teams went absolutely crazy, they weren't going to be able to whack it at the same level that that's what you have to do, You have to set up a team that suits whatever your home pitch is going to be. And you either have to change your team or your home pitch if that isn't the case. And I know there's a bit of a problem with that at Chinaswamy because it's maybe one of the few places where the curators still have a little bit of sway, and it's sometimes that can be tough. But then you have to change the team and you have to understand exactly what you're going for. So I don't know, maybe it's the best 5 bowlers who take the pitch out of the equation. Maybe that's what they could have gone with, right? But one way or another, that's what you have to do. But then my memory is, and it's what we call in T20 cricket Frankenstein's teams. When I was involved, one guy wanted these 2 players, one guy wanted these 2 players. Like if you go back and you look at the auction that they had when I was involved, which was 2018, 2019, whatever, there's like 2 players that I've picked in that side, right? That I don't think everyone else fully believes in, right? There are Moeen Ali and Washington Sundar. Washington never hardly... Virat just did not rate him, right? Like it was a complete waste of my time picking that player. But he did rate Moeen Ali, but he didn't use him very well. Then you had a look at Dan Vettori brought in Corey Anderson, right? Like his old teammate. Yeah. Ashish Nira loved Corey Anderson, and I can't remember, there was someone else. So you could go through all these different picks and see which person in the organization they were linked to. It was usually 2 people, if I remember correctly. But that's not how you pick a side. You come up with an idea. How are we going to win here? What's the best side to be able to make that maximize? And then 1 or 2 people go off. You have a scouting network and you have a general manager network. The coach and the captain and the player. You've already told us how you want to play. Now we're going to do the best we can to get those players on the field. And then when you get them, you're going to have to accept that you wanted Mark Wood, but we can only give you Nathan Coulter-Nile, right? Or you wanted Andre Russell. There is no Andre Russell like other player. So we've gone with Ben Cutting, right? Like you have to accept that because that's how these things work. You wanted the best 4 spinners in the league. Well, okay, so we've given you the best 4 spinners available. Can you create something from that? That is how these smart teams do things, right? That is what they do, and RCB has not been very smart.